All right, good morning, traders. Today is May 1st, 2025. 3 months already in the books for 2025. All right, this is how I plan to trade the SPY today. Didn't want to do that. Want this. Okay. It's May 1st. Thank you for being here. I want to good morning, Rickster. Hey, I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank everybody out there in Cyberland, Digital Land. Thank you so much, all right, for following my content, subscribing to my content, taking your valuable time to listen to my content. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you for the kind words. Hey, good morning, Mike 42 and Lenny G. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. My SPY pivot. 552.80. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Oh, you know what I wanted to say? I wanted to talk about this. Okay, today, all right, today we're going to have a members e-learning today. All right, it's going to be on trading plans. All right, I know some of you don't have trading plans. I know some of them find it tedious and bulky and clunky. And it doesn't have to be that way. All right, but today's topic is trading plans. Starts off at noon. That's going to be Doug. Then I start at 1, so I won't be in the room. All right, I'll be in another room. But you're all invited as members and even trial members to come join us in the other room and listen to all three of us. So that starts today at noon. Just want to let you know. All right, everybody out there in Cyberland and Digital Land, podcast land, I want to tell you I'm having an open house, Cinco de Mayo. Going to be tequila shots, margaritas, chips and salsa, and you're invited into the trading room. At least, well, there'll be margaritas here at the house, but I don't know at your place. But anyways, chips and salsa, Cinco de Mayo, open house. Good morning, Chip. All right, so let's go ahead and dig into this. I'll leave a link to register for that open house in the description of the video. All right, so let's go ahead and get started a little bit more here. All right, so SPY, Diamond Dow, FNGA, and QQQ are in daily uptrends. Diamond Dow is kind of in a weak one. SPY, QQQ, Diamond Dow made outside days, closing over bullish traps over their flat 17 EMAs. SPY closed with a 2-hour uptrend, 10-minute uptrend. IWM, FNGA made lower lows, lower highs, closing over bullish traps over their 17 EMAs. Gold still in a daily uptrend. Gold made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bullish trap under the 17 EMA. Silver still in a downtrend, made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bullish trap and under the 17 EMA. USO still in a downtrend, made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bearish trap below the 17 EMA. UNG also in a daily downtrend, a lot of downtrends there, made a lower high and a lower low, closing over a bullish trap but under the falling 17. US dollar index still in a downtrend, closed near the 99.67 area. SPY max pain for today is 549 with a put to call ratio of about 1.5 puts to each call that expires today at 4:15. Hey, let's go take a look at some charts. All right, SPY on the 10-minute. So you got price candles up over the 3. The 3 is on top of the 8, and the 8 is on top of the 17 EMA. All right, 17 is these red dots that turn to green dots right there. All right, so there's a 10-minute chart. We have a 10-minute uptrend. On the 2-hour chart, same thing. We've got price candle with the 3 EMA, that's the yellow line, up over the 8 EMA, that's the white line, up over the rising 17, that's the green dots. 2-hour uptrend going into the close. On the daily chart, we have outside day, higher high, lower low, closing over the bullish trap over the flat 17, starting to hook now, over the uptrend line, the downtrend line right there, over the midpoint, over that pink line is the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, you go down, you give it up, that's neutral. Same thing, you go up, you give it up, that's neutral. Okay, so we're now in an uptrend. We're making higher lows. There's a high, we made a higher high. So there's SPY on the daily chart. On the 2-day chart, still in a downtrend. On the 3-day chart, still in a downtrend. On the weekly chart, still in a downtrend. On the monthly chart, still in an uptrend. All right, we're going to start our new month this month right here. So there's SPY on the monthly chart. Let's go back to the daily chart. Nice candle. Building a nice brick. Usually after you build a nice 4 to 5 day grinder brick that's leaning on resistance, overhead resistance. It's right up there, snugged up, right up there tight to it. Usually on the 4th, 5th day, you can expect a pop out, a move up. Now, whether it succeeds, it could fail. Could be a failed breakout, and it might succeed. We'll see what happens if we get a failed breakout or if bears come in and push us back down. So there's SPY. Let's take a look at the game plan. Okay, game plan is back out here. Here we go. All right, so game plan. It's a 5-minute chart of the SPY. Pivot remains the same, 552.80. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. All right, I like 1 day till expiration Friday options and 8 days till expiration Friday options. I like puts and calls that are $5 to $20 out of the money. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. All of those are pretty much playable events for me. We have a red erases green event right under here at 549 if price gets back down there. We're about $10 away right now. Okay, we have a green erases red event over, really have a green erases red because there wasn't much red here, but we have a green erases red over 550.580. All right, that would be, we're already well up over that right now. Over 555.80 is a green erases red. How I plan to trade SPY today? Well, we've already got a 10-minute uptrend right now. So let's take a look at the 10-minute chart. Just pick up a clean one. Okay, you can see we're already in a 10-minute uptrend. I'm looking for a decent 10-minute candle. Okay, I don't want a candle like this. See how this has more wick than body and tail? Okay, so the sellers dominated that candle, so I don't want that. All right, see this one? Another one right here. More wick than body and tail. It's green. It's the right color. I want a green candle. All right, because we're moving up. All right, but I just don't want something that shows me that sellers or bears are in control. All right, so bears definitely had control because they controlled more than 51% of that candle. Same here, more than 51% of that candle. Don't want those candles, okay? Don't want any red candles because I'm buying an uptrend. All right, so I don't want any red candles. Bears control those candles. All right, don't want any dojis or spinning tops. Okay, so you got some spinning tops right here. All right, little squat dojis right there. Right there. All right, that shows me that the bulls and bears, spinning tops, bulls and bears are fighting it out. All right, pretty much in the same battleground area. Okay, no advantage for me on spinning tops and dojis. Okay, dojis, they're either resting or they agree that this is where price should be. Okay, same thing with spinning tops. The bears keep pushing it down and the bulls keep pushing it up. No advantage there. Okay, I want something where I have nice green candle up over VWAP, preferably. All right. No dojis, no spinning tops, no topping wick candles, and no red candles. All right. That's what I'm looking to buy into. If not, if I don't get that, I'll just have to wait. All right. That's my plan this morning. All right, and it very well may be that price gaps up and melts off all day because it's a big gap up. So it's a possibility that we gap up and melt off all day. And in that case, I will be looking for price to probably gap fill. All right, so we'll see what happens. There's SPY on the 10-minute chart. That's my 10-minute plan this morning. Since we're gapping up, I want to trade a continuation of the 10-minute uptrend. All right, so I'm looking for a continuation of that 10-minute uptrend. Yesterday, what did we trade? Well, right out of the gate, we gapped down, okay? And we had a 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. You could have bought the first candle, you could have sold the first candle and taken it right into about 541.60, okay? Almost that all-time low. What is that? Yeah, that's the all-time high anchored VWAP, right into that area right about there. Okay, so price action stopped right there, reversed. Then we had a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP on SPY, and you could have traded that right up as soon as you saw the breakout. As soon as that 10-minute trend starts, you can see you're already up over VWAP, so you don't have to worry about that. All right, so we traded this 10-minute uptrend from, well, right about this area right here where the 17 meets, up to about this area right here at the end of day. It's a nice 10-minute uptrend coming up through the ranks. A little bit of a pause, all right, a little bit of a grinder brick right here, and then a breakout. All right, so there's SPY on the 10-minute. Made some good money on calls yesterday with that 10-minute uptrend, riding it all the way from about 547 clear up to 555. So there's SPY on the 10-minute chart. Let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ, same thing, 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, totally a tradable event. There's the rubber band candle. There's the spike. Rubber band candle is broken. As soon as the 10-minute trend starts, I'm allowed to trade it in my trading plan. I have rules in my trading plan that allow me to get into good trades. All right, so you got 3 spinning tops right here, 1, 2, 3. As soon as those break, there's the red green candle. There you go. You can get in on that candle right there. So there's QQQ on the 10-minute chart. Same thing. I'm looking for a continuation of QQQ of the 10-minute uptrend. Again, no topping wick candles, no dojis, no spinning tops. All right, looking for a 10-minute uptrend, preferably over VWAP. Might just be that they sell it off. They might have a 10-minute downtrend going for gap fill. We'll see what happens. We're gapping up kind of high today. Back on SPY, I am looking for a target of, if they haven't hit it yet, 564.46. And that's going to be gap fill, all right, to this price action over here to the left, all right? So back here on this day, right here, that would be April 2nd, about April 2nd. We gapped down about $20. All right, so I'm looking for the gap fill, which is about 564.46. All right, we'll see if we can do the whole gap fill thing. Right now, we're currently at about 561.60. All right, so let's go take a look at QQQ one more time here. And QQQ on the daily chart. Again, continuation of the downtrend. All right, QQQ got an outside day, higher high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, over the midpoint, over the 17 EMA, flat 17 right there. So price action, making high lows and higher highs. That's an uptrend, and we're neutral right now. We're just neutral. All right, you go down, you give it up, you're neutral. You get in the upper third, you're bullish. Lower third, you're bearish. Okay, right in the middle ground, just neutral. So there's QQQ on the daily chart. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow, another outside day, higher high, lower low, closing over bullish trap, over the 17, made a high low, made a higher high. That's an uptrend. Price action underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP, still underneath the downtrend line, approaching the midpoint, midfield, 50-yard line right there. That's those dashes. Okay, price action. in an uptrend, but has not broken the downtrend line yet. All right, so there's Diamond Dow on the daily chart, and still underneath that all-time high anchored VWAP. So uptrend and just neutral at this time. Diamond Dow, I would kind of look for this to hopefully spike this downtrend line pretty hard today, and it looks like they're going to start it, and maybe even a gap fill up here. We'll see. Diamond Dow looking good. Let's take a look at IWM. IWM, yesterday's price action, lower high, lower low, but closing over the bullish trap, over the flat 17 and under. This is the all-time high anchored VWAP. Under that all-time high anchored VWAP, under the midpoint, still in the lower third, so it's bearish and still in a downtrend, okay? Because they have to take out this high up here to negate the downtrend. All right, so they're still in a downtrend. So there's IWM. Let's take a look at FNGA. Okay, FNGA took out, see this high that pokes through the 17? They got a higher high. So they got a higher high and a higher low. Okay, that puts them in an uptrend. Notice they have broken this downtrend line. Nothing says it doesn't belong out here. They're still underneath this all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, yesterday's price action is a lower high and a lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the flat 17 EMA, no longer in the lower third. See how they closed up there? All right, so that's just neutral. So they're in an uptrend and neutral, all right, on the other side of the downtrend line. Let's take a look at some technicals. All right, you can see price action. When we gapped down yesterday, all right, you can see price action dropped us right into the midpoint, and we rallied from there, making higher lows and higher highs all the way back to the buy and the overbought zone to camp out back up here. Bears thought they threw us out, and we came running right back in. All right, there's T21.22, T21.23. All right, green from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. We're making little micro higher highs and higher lows. We're making bullish gaps that aren't getting filled by the bears. All right, and we're making little micro higher highs and higher lows. Okay, so all of this is a bullish environment. Little bullish gaps that aren't getting filled by the bears. Little consolidation over prior consolidation. That's a bullish environment. Up over the 200 SMA, that's a bullish environment. That's all nice, but we still haven't taken out this high right here. Okay, I like to see us take out that high. All right, it's been since, let's just call it the 10th of April. So it's been 20 days. Okay, and we still haven't taken out this high that you can see is not too far away. All right, so they're struggling here to take out that high. When they start taking out some major highs, all right, we can get excited. Right now, I got to tell you, that still looks like a bear flag. It's a little mini bull flag right here with the flag. The fabric of the flag is 10 times as long as the flag pole. But price action starting to wake up. All right, so we'll see. Can they get up over here and make that higher high? This is T21.23. Okay, still looking like a big bear flag. All right, if we linger here too long, we could see selling. Right now, we're just kind of melting up. See the melting up here right now, T21.23. T21.23 3 bar, again, looking like a bear flag. All right, see a move down, over to the right, a move down, over to the right. Okay, on the 3 bar chart, put in 3 more green candle bars. Underneath is 200 SMA, falling 200 SMA there. Okay, underneath 2 prior all-time highs and the all-time high, T21.23. Again, I want to see them take out this high right here. Start filling some bearish gaps. Right now, we're not moving very far, very fast at this time. Okay, so we'll see what happens. They are kind of melting it to the upside at this time. That's T21.23. FNGA. price action. All right, we gapped down, and you can see the buying program started immediately as we gapped down, and they just started buying it up all the way into end of day. So got red dots. All right, even though they're red dots, we gapped down. Okay, because that's the 17 EMA, and you can see we just started buying it from the beginning of the day, or actually after about the third candle, and then we started buying it all the way into the end of day, and you can see, and then some, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Price action remains over this hooking 200 SMA, over this downtrend line. Okay, these are all bullish. All right, we're making higher lows and higher highs. That's bullish. Okay, I like to see us get up on top of all-time high anchored VWAP here and hold that higher ground. We'll see. We're up here in the pre-market. Can they hold it all day long? We'll see. So there's FNGA. Let's take a look at a few sectors. Start off with XLE, energy. All right, energy, lower high, lower low, closing in the lower third. That's bearish. All right, yet to make a higher high. Okay, the high they have to beat is this one here. Still underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. Still in the lower third. They're still bearish, still in a downtrend. Let's take a look at USO. All right, USO, it's down here in quadrant 1. That's still bearish. Still in a downtrend. All right. See price action here. There's the high. They have yet to make a higher high. So there's USO in a downtrend and bearish. Lower high, lower low. Let's take a look at UNG. All right. UNG is a lower high and a lower low, closing over a bullish trap, but under the falling 17. Okay. Just barely over this 12-month high anchored VWAP right there. Still under the downtrend line, still under the midpoint. No longer in the lower third, so it's just neutral right there. Okay, UNG just neutral, still in a downtrend. All right, let's take a look at gold. Gold's a high flyer. Gold underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. Yesterday put in a lower high, lower low, closing underneath the bullish trap, but over the rising 17. Up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. All right, that's up there in quadrant 4, that's bullish. Still in an uptrend and still bullish up there in quadrant 4, just not moving up at this time. All right, you can see for the past 1, 2, 3, 6 days, they've been kind of moving to the right or drifting a little lower. Let's take a look at silver. Lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bearish cross, underneath the flat 17, over this 12-month high, 12-year high anchored VWAP, and the 6-month high anchored VWAP. Up here in quadrant 4, doesn't look like you got it this morning, but yesterday, up there in quadrant 4, that's bullish, still in a downtrend. All right, they had to take out this high right here to negate the downtrend, but not moving down. They're moving down this morning, but they weren't moving down yesterday. All right, so price action for silver, still in a downtrend, still bullish up here over the 6-month high anchored VWAP and in the upper third. Okay, just not moving down at this time. They are this morning though. Okay, so there's silver on the daily chart. Let's take a look at SMH. All right, SMH finally making it out of the lower third here. All right, so yesterday's candle, lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. No longer in the lower third, so that's neutral. All right, making a higher low and a higher high. That negates the downtrend, so they're now in an uptrend. See how they squeaked out a little higher high there. Okay, still underneath all-time high anchored VWAP, still underneath downtrend line 1, still underneath the midpoint, all right? They just broke out of the bearish zone. That would be the lower third. Okay, let's see if they get some follow-through here. We'll see what happens. Nice little brick going on there. Maybe they have a breakout sometime today. Looking like they got something going on. There's SMH. Take a look at Big Brother, XLK. This is Big Brother to the SMH. Outside day, that's a lower low, higher high, closing over all-time high anchored VWAP right there. That's the pink line, closing over the midpoint, making higher lows and higher highs. That's bullish. All right. It just not in the lower third, not in the upper third, so just neutral through here. Nice grinder brick right up here, grinding away at overhead supply. Okay, look like a 4-day hold right there. That's bullish, holding that higher ground. Anytime you see price hold that higher ground, could get a breakout. Might be a failed breakout, might be a follow-through breakout. We'll see what happens. But anytime I see 4 to 5 days hold up over this all-time high anchored VWAP, I'm looking for a breakout, usually on day 4 or day 5. All right, so there's XLK on the daily chart. All right, let's take a look at XLF. XLF knocking on the door of the upper third. I'm going to give it to him. All right, so that's bullish. Making an outside day. All right, closing over the trap, over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Nice brick going on there. Up over, nice grinder brick. Up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Nice work on XLF. Up over the midpoint. Okay, so they're bullish up there, making higher lows and higher highs. Can they get a breakout going on today? We'll see. Doesn't look like it yet. All right, maybe later today. Maybe not so much. We'll find out. There's XLF. IYT, transports. Outside day, closing over the bullish trap. Still in the lower third, so it's still bearish. Yet to make a higher high, so it's still in a downtrend. Transports just having a tough time here. In the lower third, still in a downtrend. Underneath all-time high anchored VWAP, underneath the midpoint. There's the transports, okay? So we get the financials are looking good. Technology's looking good. SMH, not so much, but technology is looking good. And we've got T2123 kind of waking up, but still, you zoom out from T2123, you're still looking at a bear flag. I mean, let's call it what it is. That's a big bear flag, all right? It's kind of extended. I don't know how long it has to extend and not break down for them to call off the breakdown. So we'll see. They're kind of melting it up right now. Big cap stocks in an uptrend. That'd be FNGA. Okay. A little micro uptrend right there. Okay. Up over all-time high anchored VWAP. That's very good news. On the other side of this downtrend, that's very good news. And of course, these 10 stocks right here, securities inside FNGA, all right, they have the capability. They're so weighted in QQQ and FNGA. They're so weighted. It doesn't matter what the other 90 stocks are doing, securities in the NASDAQ 100 or the other 480 securities are doing in the S&P 500. All right, these 10 stocks right here have the ability to jerk price or those two indexes wherever they go. Showing an inverted head and shoulders here on the backside of FNGA down here. Little head, right shoulder, left shoulder. Can we extend up to where the left shoulder, the left arm left off up there? That would be close to those all-time highs. We'll see. This is FNGA on the 15-minute chart. All right, let's take a look at the economic package. Let's wrap this up. All right, on the economic package, what do we got? Max Pain for SPY puts and calls that expired today, 549. All right, 549 is max pain for today. We're well up. We're $10 away from that. Put to call ratio, of course, we were $10 away from 540 yesterday till we gapped down and almost tagged it. All right. That was max pain for yesterday, and we came ever so close to tagging it. So I'm not going to take it off the table. We'll see. All right, anything's possible. We'll see. Put to call ratio 1.43 puts to each call, so roughly 1.5 puts to each call. Let's take a look at the economic calendar today. Yesterday we had GDP. It sucked, okay, to put it mildly. It was not good at all right? And it will probably continue to suck until we get some certainty with the tariff arrangement. All right, so we need some reports from Mr. POTUS and let us know if the other companies are bending, okay, or if he's bending, or if negotiations have come to a closing. In other words, success on both sides. We'll see. All right, we're not getting that certainty yet. It's nice to get excited. Maybe the market knows that there's some certainty on the table. So we'll find out in the future here whether there is or there isn't. Until then, obviously tariffs are still on the table. All right, so that's GDP. Unemployment report. Well, we didn't quite build as many jobs as we planned to do. All right, and I think that caused the beginning of the sell-off at 8:15 yesterday. Today, what do we got? Jobless claims at 8:30. PMI manufacturing final. 9:45. ISM manufacturing index. 10 o'clock. Construction spending at 10. A natural gas report at 10:30. And that's it. Tomorrow, big event tomorrow. Employment situation. 8:30 in the morning. Factory orders 10 o'clock. And that's it for tomorrow. Let's take a look. I think we got some Fed speakers next week. Let's take a look at, what do we want to look at? We got open interest. We did the dollar. Let's take a look at the dollar. Dollar's still in a downtrend. Lower highs, lower lows. Shooting off a bear flag right through here. We broke through major support right there, and we're in a downtrend, making lower highs and lower lows, and beginning a bear flag right here. We closed near 99.67 area, right about there. We came all the way from 110.24. All right, so that's a big drop. That's a 10% drop right there. That's a big drop in the dollar. So still can't seem to get GDP up there. All right, because we need a weaker dollar. All right, it's nice to have the weaker dollar, but I don't think anybody's going to commit to buying our goods and services with tariffs being on the table. So until then, I don't foresee GDP shaping up. Not for a little while. Not till we get some kind of negotiations settled and closed. Get some deals done, all right? So anybody out there who's the art of the deal, let's get the deal done, all right? So we have some certainty, and then maybe then the market can move on. All right, and earnings. Last night, we had Microsoft and Meta reported, two of the bigger ones. All right, let's take a look at both of them, see where they are this morning. MSFT, okay, big gap up. Let's take a look at them with pre-market on. Okay, big move up. You can see there's your earnings rip right there. Okay, all the way from 392 up to 429. 30% move right there. And it's almost a 10% move right there overnight. Nice move there on Microsoft. So I guess the market like that. That's Microsoft. Take a look at Meta. All right, Meta moved from not quite as nice as Microsoft, 545 up to, well, I take that back. 545 up to, what are we up to here? 585. $40 move. Almost, again, another almost 10% move on Meta and Microsoft. So these are big heavyweights. They will jerk SPY and QQQ along with them. So there's Meta and Microsoft. Big ones. On deck tonight, we got APPL. I think it's Apple. I don't know. How do I not know what Apple is? What is Apple? What's the moniker for Apple? AAPL. Thank you. I don't trade it that much. All right, so here's Apple, not even moving, not even budging, not even a pre-market. This does not look good. Notice Meta, Microsoft, SPY, and QQQ way up here. Apple definitely not on the same page as everybody else. All right, I'm just going to say that's kind of spooky. All right, a little bit spooky there because it's not on the same page as everybody else. So that's Apple. Who else we got tonight? Amazon. Amazon's on the same page. Look at that. Amazon's ready to go. Like, count me in. All right. Apple, not so much. So, could be a mixed bag tonight at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock. We'll see. All right. Back to the earnings. No, don't want that one. Just go to the earnings. Thank you, Alan, for sharing, as always. Appreciate that. Thursday, tonight, Apple, Amazon, after the close. Eli Lilly this morning, $838 billion. They report this morning. MasterCard, $486 billion. They report this morning. McDonald's Corporation, $226 billion. They report this morning. Shell Oil, looking for the P&L. Mercado Libre, looking for the P&L. Tonight, alongside of Apple and Amazon, we've got Stryker Corporation, $139 billion, and a drug company, Amgen, $150 billion. Tomorrow, what do we got? Two of the Berkshires that they never seem to announce either daytime or nighttime. They're always looking for the P&L, or it might not be that they're looking for the P&L. It might be more that they are, how do I say it? They just don't want to commit to a time frame right there. And they are very diversified. Berkshire's extremely diversified. So I would say that it's really not a market mover, okay, because it's so diversified, whereas the other ones are heavy with tech, and tech is a leader in most rallies, so they tend to have more of a reaction with tech, and I'm talking about Amazon, Meta, Microsoft. Okay, Berkshire is more of a very diversified, spread out conglomerate, and it doesn't seem to move the markets, even though it is about $2 trillion, actually $2.2 trillion between the two of them. Just not a big market mover. Anyways, tomorrow night, $471 billion, that's ExxonMobil. $244 billion, tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, ExxonMobil, $471 billion. Chevron Corporation, $244 billion tomorrow morning. Eaton Corporation, $112 billion. Cigna Group, $91 billion, and some more familiar names. All right, so that's it for earnings right there. Who hasn't reported yet, JW? Which one were you talking? Apple? No, they have not reported yet. I think they will report tonight. Unless, of course, somebody released some earnings. I don't think so. They're due to report tonight and comment tonight, JW. That's what they're scheduled for according to the calendar. After the close. And they'll wait till 4:15. All right, so we don't have an edge. Yeah. Apple's not a technology company. They don't sell cell phones and computers. There might be some little bit of truth there. They sell subscriptions, right? All right, traders, that's it for me. Hey, let's go take a look at the jobs claim. I just want to take a peek at it while Alan shared it with us. Thank you, Alan. Love it. Appreciate that. All right, weekly jobless claims surged to 241, more than expected. All right, in the latest sign of economic trouble. All right, we were expecting some jobless claims to peak up anyways. Jobless claims went. The consensus was 217 to 260, and we got 241. All right, a little bit on the high side. Prior was 222, so we creeped up 20,000. I'm not. I'm not like, wait, this is bad. That's nothing. I think. I'm not. It's not enough to be concerned about. That's like in the range. It's where it's supposed to be. It's on the high side of the range. But I don't know. I'm not concerned about that one. Maybe the one on Friday that comes out, the employment situation will be more detailed. Jobless claims creeps up 20,000. I think we're kind of expecting that since the layoffs at Doge. All right, so not really concerned about that. And that's it. Yeah, the Apple's not bumping up in the morning. Totally agree, Jim. All right, traders, that's it. I'll see you guys in about 35 minutes. Let me get my video rendered and post it out there for everybody in Cyberland. Again, Cinco de Mayo, open house here in the BYOB Trading Room. Everybody, podcast land, digital land, come join me, all right? Tequila shots and margaritas, all right? Cinco de Mayo, all right? It's BYOB, all right? As in bring your own booze, all right? So we'll see you guys on Monday, Cinco de Mayo, all right? Make it a date, all right? Let's be there. All right, traders, I'll see you guys in the room here in about 35 minutes.